The Lenovo Y700 tablets have long since been the go-to tablet option for those that want to game seriously. You attach a telescopic controller or even the pre-made G9 controller to one of these, and you have a fantastic gaming experience. This here is the newest of them, the Lenovo Legion Tab Gen 5 with the newest Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 processor and a beautiful 8.8-inch 3040 by 1904 165Hz display. It's actually a super nice looking tablet. You have the Legion logo on the back and a 50 megapixel camera and a nice LED RGB ring. Now, speaking of super nice, have you ever wanted to DIY your own retro handheld or your own project, but you weren't sure how? PCBWay's shared projects is exactly what you're looking for. You have super smart people that have done these projects, and they just share the entire parts list, the instructions, and the components with you, which is just an easy click to order from PCBWay. No more guessing, no more wondering, you can build your own retro handheld with PCBWay today if you wanted to. Everything is linked in the description. Taking a look inside of the box of this Lenovo tablet, and we have a few nice additions. There is an included screen protector that you can put right on. We have a nice magnetized fold case that actually detaches into two pieces. And then of course there is a USB-C cable and a 60-watt USB-C wall charger. Now, at least in North America or Canada, where I'm at, there is one model with 12 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage, which is the one that I have here. And the price is $699 US or 901 Canadian dollars. Taking a look at the specs, and the tablet does come with two USB-C ports like before, and the USB-C port at the bottom is the full USB-C 10 gigabyte per second port that also has DisplayPort out, while the side USB-C port is actually capped to 480 megabytes per second with no DisplayPort out. So there is some differences between the two ports. Otherwise, for the full specs, we have the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 processor, which is a monster of a processor, and we'll take a look at that in a little bit. It does have the Adreno 840 GPU inside, and as we talked about before, we have 12 gigabytes of LPDDR5T RAM and 256 gigabytes of UFS 4.1 Pro storage. The screen is a gorgeous 8.8-inch, 3K 3040 by 1904, 16 by 10, 165Hz display, with up to 800 nits of brightness. There is a massive 9,000 mAh battery inside of here, Dolby Atmos speakers, Android 16, Wi-Fi 7 with Bluetooth 6.0, and of course, we do have an SD card slot, so no negatives on that front either. Now, Lenovo did send me this for review, and I do have to send it back, so I wasn't able to get a chance to test this with the G9 controller or gamepad, whatever you want to call it, which is something that I think a lot of people are going to want to buy if they're going to use this in any actual gaming way. There is a new version of the G9 gamepad that works with this tablet specifically, and it is an option for those of you that want to transform this tablet into a handheld, and you can occasionally remove it to use it as a tablet again. I'd have loved to check this out, but unfortunately it won't work out for today's video. But let's dive into the monster that is this tablet. Starting with the Geekbench 6 scores, and we have a 3580 for single core and a 10,439 for multi-core. For reference, I have the AYN Odin 3 here with the regular Snapdragon 8 Elite for comparison, and it is a nice jump from 3188 single core to 9,896 multi-core. So we're getting some good gains off of the 8 Elite, which was already really good to begin with. Jumping into the software, and it would be easy to call Lenovo software as a little bit bloated because there is a lot going on. There's a lot of enhancements, there's a lot of settings, but it does function like a usual Android tablet, just with the ability to do so much more. You can customize the display as much as you want with colors and so on, as well as the refresh rate, changing from 60 Hz or always staying in 165 Hz, which is what I like to do. I want to stick with 165. If I'm paying this amount of money for a tablet like this, I'm going to get the full benefit of the refresh rate. You can also set apps to use 165 Hz, so if you want to switch to that, automatically you can. The sound is great for a tablet, especially with Dolby Atmos enabled, and you can play around with the Dolby mode so that you can get it to whatever you want it to be. But I find that it's pretty good out of the box. Now, Samsung users who have used DeX before would be familiar with this, but there is a desktop mode, so you can transform this entire thing into a little laptop if you wanted to. Apps open in Windows, you have full control like a desktop, and it is a nice little addition here too, especially since it is a bigger screen, so you could get away with it. But this tablet does probably have the most features and functions out of any Android device that I've ever used, which is a good thing. You can do a lot here that you want to. One thing I really do like is the pull-out menu when you're in a game or an app. You can adjust your performance mode, there's a form of upscaling, there's button mapping, and a few nice little things here on the side, as well as the pop-out floating display so that you can show all of the stats in a game of the things that you usually care about. But let's jump into my personal favorite use case for this tablet, and it is streaming with Apollo and Artemis. Now, for those of you that don't know, you can stream from your own PC to Android devices. It's a nice way to play games using your PC's power on another device in your house, so you can be a little bit more portable and you don't have to sit at a desk. We have 007 First Light here being streamed at a sub 1 ms decoding time. I've even seen it lower than what I'm showing on video. And it's probably the lowest decoding time out of any device that I've ever seen, Windows or Android. When it comes to using the Gen 5 for streaming, it's the best that you can get. And if you combine this with a controller or the G9 gamepad from earlier, you can have an absolutely fantastic experience streaming with virtually non-existent latency. But of course, it's the native gaming where this really shines, so I decided to check out some Genshin Impact just for fun. We're on high settings, 60 FPS enabled, and it runs relatively smoothly. I did run into some micro stutters here and there, which I'm not sure where they're coming from, but otherwise this plays really well. Jumping over to the emulation side, and just playing some Ratchet & Clank up your arsenal, you can essentially upscale the entire PS2 catalog to 3x or more and have a fantastic time. Same sort of idea for pretty much every retro console up to the PS2, GameCube, and so on. So let's skip all of those and we'll jump into Switch. I'm here playing Pokemon ZA at 1.5x resolution, docked. Yeah, the tablet is a monster, like I said. It doesn't skip a beat even with a modern game like this. I'm using the newest Mr. Purple turnip drivers here, but drivers are still pretty new to the Gen 5. So there is some graphical issues that I've come across in games in both Switch and GameHub, which we're going to look at in a second. But otherwise, playing Switch games like Xenoblade Chronicles X at 1x docked, and so on can be really good here. And you can do it upscaled if you want. It's like a little Switch 2 Pro. Then of course we get to GameHub, which is PC emulation on Android. And I did actually install a few different games off camera that I ended up running into a lot of glitches texture-wise, so I didn't decide to throw them on the video. But like I said before, this can be hit and miss due to drivers, so don't go in expecting perfect compatibility. However, the games that do work beautifully. Hades 2 had no issues hitting mostly 60 FPS at high settings, and so there's lots of wiggle room here. But the harder to run Witcher 3 is more impressive, running at a medium settings and in the 40s for frame rate. It's close enough that you could likely drop down to maybe low settings and then use FrameGen if you wanted to. Metaphor, ReFantazio was another standout here, low settings and in the 50s for frame rate. There is some wiggle room here though as well. Now, all of this should only improve as GameHub improves their driver selection, as well as when drivers improve on their end as well. So it is a bit early for the Gen 5, but you can get quite a bit out of it right now. So yeah, that is just about it for this one. This tablet kind of blew me away, and I wish I had the G9 controller to compare with it, because I'm wondering if with that kind of setup, it would be the best streaming setup that you can get. Now, I'm not saying the cheapest at all. The Odin 2 Portal would probably be the cheapest best that you could get, but maybe on the highest end, I can't think of a better way to do it. 8.8-inch screen, 3K, you have 165 Hz, you have the lowest decoding time on Android. So all you do is throw controllers on the side of this thing and you might have the best experience gaming on Android that I can think of. And that's actually exciting. So if that's what you're looking for, then absolutely this tablet is amazing. The price is a little bit on the high side, I think, for most, but if you're looking for the highest end Android experience, then you're gonna have to pay a little bit more for it. Thankfully, this does have an SD card. It does have a great screen, great battery, great refresh rate. Like there's no real negatives here, just the money part. But let me know what you think in the comments below. A lot of people love the Y700 series of devices. A lot of people have the older versions of this. Is the new one enough of an upgrade for you to upgrade to it if you have one of those? Let me know if this is what you're looking for. Don't forget to like and sub to help the channel grow. Come join me on the Discord to talk all about retro gaming, and hope you all have a good one.